Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Greetings, my friends. Thank you for joining us today. Apologies for next time. Um, so, thank you very much for joining us and continuing with our general development, state of consciousness, expansion, and also in the timeline that we so often have spoken about. So since April, um, March, let's say end of March, when we started our uh, sessions through the center, what we've discovered is that our anticipated understanding has been pretty accurate. So we anticipated the first lockdown would be coming down by the end of May. Then there would be a release of this tension, which would come out as anger, and then we had the Black Lives Matter protests, and then there was a squeeze we anticipated towards the end of September, and here we are with this second lockdown. And the second lockdown again is as at least it's not as shocking as the first one. However, it's interesting that the logic behind these so-called tiers cannot be questioned. Um, it's interesting that the scientific advisors that have been advising, certainly in the UK, seem to have different views depending on who they're speaking to. And in my opinion, and my understanding of the nature of pathogens, um, I feel there is more fear mongering, there is more panic induction than there is actually what we call practical advice and lifestyle changes that can accommodate a reasonable life, but at the same time have precautions. The implications of these things are now far too evident to us, as again we anticipated back in April, May, that there was going to be this to do with mental health and particularly mental health with children and young people. And we are starting to see the first ripples of that. And this is going to be a tsunami. I would say this categorically. This is going to become a tsunami of um, mental health requirements, mental health interventions that are needed out there. A lot of young people with their disruption in their routines, and obviously the insecurity with the parents has started to now filter into children. And my colleague Joe and I did a workshop a couple of weeks ago on taking a conscious approach to parenting. And the general agenda there was to really equip children and to equip parents with the necessary tools that they can assist themselves in this transitional period, periods of insecurity, but also assist their children. And there is a real concern, certainly from me as a human being, that continued stress, self isolation, social isolation, insecurity about tomorrow, the constant reminders of fear is really psychological torture. Whether you agree with me or not is immaterial. You can go and check out Amnesty International report on the handbook of torture, and you will find that these exactly what we are as populations being pushed through. The torturers use very similar techniques, and it creates a level of dependency. It creates a level of self insecurity, self doubt, and hence, unless we and I've been continuing with this theme now for about 3 or 4 weeks, but there's a reason I'm doing it, because it needs to be understood that there are health needs will emerge as a result of this, which are related to post-traumatic stress disorder. However, while all darkness, and it's going to go on for a while, certainly for the next year or so, you are starting to see, as we anticipated, the purging, the exposure. And the exposure obviously has taken the USA down a particular rabbit hole, and that should become more and more interesting as we go along, leading to those individuals who feel they are immune and they are beyond the law. What do they do for their amusement? What do they do for their kicks? And humanity is about to get a wake-up call in terms of those in positions of power and authority, how that has been abused. On the other hand, there is also now this duality appearing and this kind of two ways of being. There are those who are questioning the general narrative and just trying to understand it. They're not being troublemakers. They're simply trying to understand it because it doesn't make sense. And when truth is truth, because truth makes sense, this that it's all to do with money. Find out where the contracts are going for the track and trace. Find out where the contracts are going for the provisions of the protection equipment. Find out where the money is going for the vaccinations. So this paradigm is really a paradigm that is similar to the paradigm of a religion, in which you have believers and non-believers, those who question the belief. And anyone who questions a belief is now being ostracized, is being labeled, is being pushed away, etc. So there is this duality emerging. And in this duality, there are two parts. There are those who are far too engaged in the narrative, and for good reason. They don't want to question it. Because if they question it and they discover the fact that they've been taken for a ride, the ego can't handle this. The ego cannot handle the fact that it's been made a fool of. So therefore, it is better to follow rather than question, because the questioning will completely deconstruct reality for those who are stuck in this stuff. That's where we are. So you're going to find people that just don't want to question it, and if you dare ask anything like this, they get really upset, and the reason is they are trying to defend and hold on to the mark that they have, which is fine, and that's okay. And these are probably the first movers in terms of the vaccinations, etc., and these will be the first casualties as well, quite easily. The first casualties in terms of their own freedom, the first casualties in terms of their health, the first casualties in terms of their dependency. Then there is this other emerging narrative, which is by pain, which has evolved through questioning. This is evolved through the fear. This is evolved through all the disruption known, and many people through these internal changes themselves. And as a result of their own internal deconstruction, there's a new light. It's the paradigm of where things are going, whether you like it or not. Existence does not bother whether you like this or you don't like this, whether you accept it or not. Everything is going towards purgence. And you can see it happening now. So there is a purgence to do body. So many people will start or should have likely to experience physical pains and aches and physical shifts within themselves, certainly over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 weeks. And the likelihood is after the 24th, this may just increase a little bit more before it settles down. Why? Because the body is being purged. Then there are the emotions that are being purged. Then there is the worldview, the mental reality that we hold on to. That's being deconstructed. And all of this is leading to the spiritual purgence. And I call it a spiritual purgence. Well, how do I define that? I define that as transparency of consciousness, where our being challenged and deconstructed. There is no question about this, that next few months we will all be going through certain states of being in which many of our attachments are going to be challenged. So, like everything else in life, is a duality. Darkness is always followed by light. Always. Suffering is always followed by non-suffering. Always. Yeah. Up has the duality of down. Um, Birth has the duality of death, has the duality of rebirth, and so forth. So now is to take this optimism into our hearts. This stuff that we are going through is likely to last for another year or so, maybe a little bit longer. But having said that, it is the deconstruction of the lies, the deconstruction of the houses of made out of cards. And as the house begins to fall in the USA, it will have a ripple effect throughout the world, and Britain is not exempt. Britain is not exempt. Life is about to get very interesting for many of our politicians, and about time too. Then you will find, how do you know that you are close to the truth? Because those who wish to can maintain the narrative get remove anything that questions the narrative. So YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Have you seen over the last 48 hours, 72 hours, how every questioning channel, any channel that has questioned the narrative, any channel that has expressed an alternative view, any channel or any comment that have been placed, all of a sudden we have these fact checkers. Well, these fact checkers are your thought police. You cannot think other than what you are told to think. How dare you think? And you will be ostracized, you will be labeled, you will be pushed into a corner. And soon enough, most of these major tech giants will fall apart. Just watch the show, because other ones have already started to emerge based on blockchain, based on non-censorship of content. And non-censorship of content is reflective of you as a human who has the right to speak your truth, to speak your truth. And your truth isn't about hurting people. Your truth isn't about destroying anything. Your truth is your subjective truth. And if something doesn't feel right, it ain't right. And I say this again, as we said this in April, we said this in June, we say it now, that the propaganda, you know it's propaganda because it's repeated often. It's repeated continuously. You know it. And yes, people find some of the things that I say a bit offensive. But you know what? It's not about dictating to people. If other people always define you, you will never be who you are. The time is now to stand up. The time is now to say your truth, to speak your truth. Because if you don't do this now, then please, don't look back and say, I wish I did something. I say this at the start, and this is going back in March, and I say it today. History will judge everyone in terms of where they stood during these incredible changes that we are going through, and much needed. And I would go as far as saying orchestrated. As hard as it seems, as bad as it seems, it is being done for your best good. And it is being done in order to expose those who have been playing the game with you as whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's people anywhere else. They maintain this really strong grip on your thinking. How do I relate to this? Is as a Sikh, that many cultures who have alternative worldviews of life have completely been negated, has been pushed out in order to maintain this colonial, colonial, superficial, sensory gratification driven, no understanding of what it is to be human. All it's about is accumulating of power, wealth at the expense of others. In other words, provide you with guidance, with reassurance, with divinity. If you have any tradition that you have an attachment to, now is the time to dig into yourself and to into that tradition, because no one else is going to save you. There is no extra or some. No, we have to do this ourselves. For you are your own savior. So this savior, this sense of waking up, getting up, and doing something out, it's what we are here to do. Better to be a free man in a grave than to live life with live with shackles. No, the traditions that mean, and every tradition in its authenticity has given human beings its sovereignty. The time is now here for that to wake up, to stand up, and to face what is before us. And it's an illusion, it's a play. You are being played, it's an illusion, it's theater. These rules that you are subject to, those who are making these rules, they don't seem to be subject to it. Ask yourself this question: is this the way it should be? And if you feel it is, then say something, do something. And all you need to do is don't fight them, don't criticize them. Turn your back to it. Turn your back to it. The moment you realize their irrelevance is the moment you begin to claim your power. The moment you begin to know that your humanity, your is, we ain't going to get another one like this. And these times that we are in, call them whatever, biblical, call them Armageddon, call them whatever you want to call them. But they are here and they are going to take place whether we like it or not. But they are here for the welfare of all existence. Look around you and you will find that the birds aren't falling out of the trees because they've got COVID. You'll find that all animals, trees, worms, earthworms, all types of animals going on about their business. Life is okay. My friend, life always takes care of itself. The human ego lives in a false sense of security, thinking it's in control. And now it's going to learn it has never been in control, and have situations where you can't access your money, you can't access, maybe there's a power shortage or something. Well, the newspapers have now started to let the sheep know that, oh, you know what, there may be power shortages or blackouts as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. They need to make up the one who knows. You are prepared, make sure this stuff is going now. And it is now in a momentum of its own. And this momentum can be a momentum lead tracked. It will always bite. And that's what's happening. As the structures are falling apart, as the exposure is coming through, as the crimes against humanity are becoming obvious, the rats are now starting to fight back with all that they have. So you're going to find far more imposition on you, but it's okay. It goes to show they're losing their grip. So be sure that you're looked after. Be sure that by maintaining by your mind, by ensuring that you have the ability to question, you are always on the right road. Anyway, gone on for 20 minutes or so. Last time I went on for about our whole session went on for an hour, so I want to try and make it a little bit more compact today. So let us now connect with our inner space, our state of consciousness, our sense of security, and our divinity. And it is out of this sense of divinity, this sense of space, our own internal sacred space, that we will embrace and take ownership of what we are. Okay, so when you're closing your eyes and closing your mouth, just move your neck a little bit so it's a little bit loose. Make sure your shoulders are pulled back slightly. And as you breathe in, just take a sense of your body as a whole. And then see if there's anything dominant within the body itself. Perhaps a pain, an ache, a tightness. Your intention is simply to become present and then to become present to the presence of yourself. So first is just to be present to your experience of life. So we begin with the body first. Take your focus to whatever you're sitting on. Notice how well you're held in space and in place. And it's important to acknowledge that. It's important to acknowledge where you are. So remember, here and now are two components of being present. So this is the here bit. Where are you? You are wherever you are. Acknowledge whatever you're sitting on, which holds you in place in an environment. Notice the sensations where your body makes contact. As you breathe in, bring this focus upwards towards your hips. As you breathe out, move this down to your thighs, to your knees. And as you breathe out again, bring this focus down to your ankles, feet, soles of your feet. Coming back to whatever you're sitting on. And as you breathe in, bring this focus up towards your lower back. Moving towards your middle back. Up towards your shoulder blades. And then from your shoulders, moving your focus down towards elbows, down towards your wrists. Resting your focus on the palms of your hands, fingers on your hands. Bring your focus to your eyes. Notice the darkness. Notice that you have awareness. Allow your eyes to soften Move your focus to your mouth. Notice your tongue. Allow your tongue to soften. Allow your face to relax. Breathing in, becoming aware of your whole body as best as you can. Bring your focus to your chest. Notice how you feel within yourself. Settled or unsettled. Comfortable or not comfortable. Do you feel calm or do you feel anxious? An honest, transparent self-checking. Next breath out. Open your awareness. Begin to listen to the sounds around you. Listening to the sound of the bell as far as you can. Begin to notice the movement of your breath. If you find that your focus and the gap at the end. See if you can notice this in your own breath, allowing your breath to breathe, allowing your breath to breathe out breath. Focus just beneath your nose. There are two little pauses. See if you can notice using your focus the gap at the start before your stay. Does your breath feel long? Does it feel short? the same as your out breath. Out, open your awareness again. Begin to listen to the sounds around you, including the sound of your breath. Listening. Simply follow the bell far as you allowing each bell to take you deeper into the silence. Simply by listening. Again, notice the silence and stillness in the present moment. Your heart simply unfolds moment to moment. Simply unfolds moment to moment. All let go, accept you of this moment to simply take you where it needs to take. Sitting with your breath for a few. Breath out, expand your awareness to your body. Notice how still your body feels way down to legs, feet, and ankles and soles of your feet. Notice your back is still straight and upright. Shoulders, arms, hands. Sense your body as you opening your eyes. Take your time, enjoy the silence. Welcome back. Thank you very much.